Monica Seles was stabbed between the shoulder blades by a 38-year-old man during a match in Hamburg, Germany.
All I just felt was like, woo, something in my back.
I heard her crying.
I didn't realize there was knife and blood.
I never ever expected something like this to happen.
Emotionally, I was just not ready to come back.
In the early 1990s, Monica Seles was the star of women's tennis. Between 1991 and 1993, Seles won 22 titles and made it to the finals in 33 out of 34 tournaments. Her record was incredible, 159 wins and only 12 losses, winning 7 of the last 8 Grand Slam tournaments she played in. Despite her dominance, Seles had a fierce rival, Steffi Graf. Graf was already one of the best players in tennis. She had won 10 Grand Slam titles and was the world's #1 player for 4 years. But Seles' rise ended Graf's time at the top. By 1991, Seles was already the new #1. At the 1993 Australian Open final, the two stars faced off in an epic match. It was close, but finally there was a winner. However, what neither of them knew was that their rivalry and Seles' career was about to take a shocking turn. April 30th, 1993, 19-year-old Monica is just 2 games away from securing her place in the semifinals of the Citizen Cup in Hamburg, Germany. Monica is leading the match 6-4, 4-3 against Magdalena Maliba, and as the players sit down for a changeover, the unthinkable happened.
I just leaned forward kind of just to put the towel here and concentrate. All I just felt was like, woo, something in my back, and I automatically went forward because I know something went in.
Her opponent remembers.
I heard a noise like something like that. I didn't, at the time, I didn't realize there was knife and blood. I just thought somebody hit her and she fell.
The attacker was Günter Parche, a 38-year-old German factory worker. He used a 10-inch boning knife to stab her between the shoulder blades with a depth of 1.5 centimeters. Before Parche could strike again, security rushed in and stopped him. The entire incident happened so quickly that even the TV cameras missed the moment. Jens Peter Hetsch of the German Tennis Federation remembers it like this.
It happened very quickly, but I heard her crying and saw our security guy packing this guy who had stabbed Monica Seles. And as I remember, he broke his arm to get him away from the player.
However, Günter had already done significant damage. At first, people thought the attack might have been politically motivated. Monica Seles was from Yugoslavia, and she was known to have received death threats in relation to the Yugoslav wars. But as the investigation went on, the truth turned out to be something far stranger and even more disturbing. Günter Parche was an obsessive fan of Steffi Graf. His obsession had begun years earlier, but it reached a breaking point in 1990 when he saw Seles defeat Graf at the German Open in Berlin. Parche admitted he felt suicidal watching Seles' rise to the top, especially as she overtook Graf to become the world's #1 player. In Parche's mind, there was only one solution. He needed to stop Monica Seles. This is why, by injuring her, he believed he could force her out of the game, allowing Graf to reclaim her place as the best player in the world. Luckily, Seles avoided complete paralysis by bending down at the last moment to drink water, causing the blade to miss her spinal cord by less than a centimeter.
I never ever expected something like this to happen. And whenever I think about it, it's just very hard.
The injuries were mostly superficial, and after a minor surgery, the wound healed within weeks. However, the impact and trauma of the attack would have a lasting effect on Monica Seles' life, with her true nightmare only just beginning. Although doctors thought she would recover quickly, the pain in Monica's shoulder lasted for months beyond the finished healing. Just weeks after the attack, Monica's father and coach was diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer and died 2 years later.
It was not easy, definitely. That's one of the very toughest times. There are a lot of things going on in my life that, looking back, was very tough.
So to cope with these events, Monica turned to food as a way to escape reality, which led to a years-long battle with a binge eating disorder.
My binge eating episodes would usually happen in the evenings when I would be back by myself after a long day at the tennis courts, and would just eat large quantities of food. My eating was just uncontrollable.
Additionally, Monica was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, a condition marked by uncontrollable thoughts about a terrifying event. Things look very bad. While Seles worked on her mental recovery, a trial took place in October 1993. The German court reached a verdict. Günter Parsche would serve no jail time. The judge determined that Parsche was mentally unstable and ruled that his actions were not meant to seriously harm her.
He was originally given a 2-year suspended sentence.
To add the final insult to the injury, a German court found Monica's attacker guilty, but decided he no longer posed a threat and let him go free.
This decision caused Monica to fear for her safety and led her to refuse to play in Germany again.
Emotionally, I was just not ready to come back because I said, well, this person who just stabbed me, he is not in jail, so what is it gonna, why would he not want to do it again?
Seles lost an appeal to have Günter Parsche retried for the crime, and also lost a lawsuit against the German Tennis Federation for inadequate security and lost income. Following the incident, new rules were put in place. Spectators were no longer allowed to walk behind the players, and security was required to stand and stay alert to respond more quickly if needed. Although the top 25 players on the women's tour were given the chance to vote on whether Monica Seles' #1 position should be kept, the decision was denied. So with Seles absent from the tour, Steffi Graf quickly regained the #1 ranking and dominated the sport throughout the 1990s. However, despite the intense competition, Graf and most others on the circuit ignored Monica.
I just wish that somebody could have called and said, "Why are you doing okay?" And, you know, because
Did it disappoint you that you didn't hear from Steffi?
It bugged me a little bit.
However, it wasn't long before she returned to the courts. Despite all the pain and suffering, Monica Seles made an incredible return to professional tennis in August 1995, 28 months after the attack.
Somewhere deep inside, I knew that I would play again, I would compete again, because I felt the way that I left it wouldn't have been the way I wanted to leave the game.
She was ranked co-#1 and went on to win the Canadian Open. At the 1995 US Open, she reached the final, where she lost to Steffi Graf in a tough 3-set match. However, in 1996, she won the Australian Open, her last Grand Slam title, showing she could still compete at the highest level. Made it to the finals of both the 1996 US Open and the 1998 French Open, but unfortunately, she lost in both tournaments. Monica Seles never fully regained the glory she once had, but she remained in the top 10 of the world rankings until her official retirement in 2008. Thus, her career is often considered one of the greatest what-ifs in sports history. Steffi Graf went on to win 22 Grand Slam titles, the third most of all time. Many believe that if the stabbing had never happened, Seles had a real chance of surpassing that number and even challenging Margaret Court's record of 24 Grand Slam titles. But because of those few terrible seconds on April 30th, 1993, we'll never know. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and check out this video about the strangest match in tennis history. I am sure you've never heard of it, and as always, thank you for watching.